Hello, welcome all to the C Programming Language Lecture Series. I am Vijayalakshmi Sahu, an MTech graduate in CSC, working as an assistant professor in MBM Engineering College, Jodhpur. I have 10 plus years of teaching experience. So, in this lecture series, we will be covering all the topics of C programming language. I have a roadmap. I will be giving this roadmap to you in the comment section. So this is the outline of your today's lecture, that is some basic terminologies, programming language and its type, translator and its type, steps of execution of programming language, why C programming language, background details of C programming language, what is C programming language, features of C and drawbacks of C. So let us start one by one. So as the topic, as the name or subject name is C programming language, so we should know what is programming language first. Programming language, we all are using language in a day-to-day life for communication purposes. So programming language is used to program computer. So computer is a machine. It doesn't have its own brain, just like human being. We need to program the computer to perform certain tasks. So we are using programming language. Your programming language has been classified into two types, that is high level programming language, then your low level programming language. The level is decided by the level of abstraction it is from the hardware. So this is the diagram. The lowest layer is hardware, followed by your machine level language, followed by assembly level language, followed by high level language. So for these assembly level language and machine level language are called as low level language. And this is your high level language. That means your low level language are of two types, that is assembly level and your machine level. So the level of, that means the machine language is nearer to hardware language. It is just top of the hardware language, top of hardware. Machine language for writing a programming machine language, the programmer must have knowledge of your hardware. Otherwise you cannot write the program. So it is not portable. That means you cannot use this machine language program in every machine. So this is one of the disadvantages. Then comes your assembly language. Assembly language is comparatively easier or convenient in comparison to machine language. I'll discuss later why it is convenient in machine language. I'll compare among three by giving an example. In case of assembly language, we are using pseudocode. We are using mnemonics. Mnemonics means just like short form of English language. Short form of English language notation. In high level language, we are completely using English language notation. One of the benefits of using hardware high level language is it is portable. That means once you have written the program by using any of the integrated device electronics, you don't have to, the programmer doesn't have any idea of your hardware. You can write the program with very limited modification. You can run that particular code on another machine. So that is the advantage of your high level language. So let us take an example how an instruction looks like in case of high level language, assembly language and machine language. So this is high level language, this is assembly language, this is machine language. So let us take an example of instruction, addition instruction, that is instruction is add two numbers and store the result in third number. If I write this particular instruction in high level language, it will be written as C equals to A plus B. If I write in case of assembly language, I'll have to use the mnemonics for the opcode, that is AND, followed by operands, that is A, B, C. So this is your operation code, in short called as opcode. These are operands. If I write the same instruction in machine level language, let us take, I am taking the code for add is 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. This is just an assumption. Then for operands A, B, C, for A I am taking 1, 0, for B I am taking 1, 1, for C I am taking 0, 1. So you can see that in machine level, everything, as the name is machine level, and your machine understands only binary language, that is either 0 or 1. That's why in machine level language, everything is written in terms of zeros and ones. So let us, in typo mistake, the 0, 1 has changed to 0, 0. So this will not be the same register, same operand C, because this 0, 0 might be some the code for some other operand, that is T. So you are not going to get the same result. So if we have thousands of such instructions or 2,000, 10,000 of such instructions, so the user or the programmer may have done thousands of mistakes. So checking each and every mistakes is quite tedious task, and remembering the entire instructions, the entire program in terms of zeros and one is also quite difficult one. So first language was your machine language, which is of this form. Then came into account assembly language, which is comparatively easier because we are not using everything in terms of 0, 1. We are writing some form of some sort of English-like notation, that is A, B, C, and for rather than writing addition, just we are using the short code, that is add. But in case of high-level language, you don't have to remember the opcodes and all. Just in mathematical notation, the way we are writing an addition operation, this is same like mathematical notation. So this is comparatively easier one. Then come to the another keyword, that is topic is called as software. Whenever you heard the term software, also you will come across the term hardware. Hardware is nothing but your physical components of computer. Physical components means which we can see, that is, for example, keyboard, then your printer, then your hard disk, motherboard. These are your hardware. Coming to the software part, software is nothing but set of programs which manages the hardware. Okay, so software is nothing but collections of programs compiled and tested and put together is called as software. Then software has been classified into two types, that is system software, then your application software. As the name is system software, it is acting as a interface between the bare hardware and the end user. Without system software, the user or the end user cannot interact with the computer. So first, whenever you purchase any hardware, you can say computer, desktop computer, laptop computer, you need to install system software into that. On top of the system software, you have to install application software. So system software is of three types: operating system, language processor, then utility software. First come to the term operating system. Operating system is a system software which control, coordinates, manages the entire resources of the computer. Okay, so examples of your operating system are Windows operating system, Linux operating system, iOS operating system, Android operating system. These are your examples of your operating system. Without operating system, we cannot operate on mobile or desktop or laptop. Then your language processor. Language processor is used to convert one language to another language. That means, for example, language processor can be used to convert high level language to low level language. It can be used to convert assembly level language to machine level language. Language processors are of three types: compiler, interpreter, assembler. We'll come to these categories of your language processor later on. First, cover the system software, then your utility software. Utility software is to help the system software to run smoothly. For example, you are installing operating system, or you are installing operating system to your hardware. Then within a regular period of interval you get the update notification. That means this is one of the utility software. Example is your updates, window updates. So this is to update your system software so that it functions smoothly. If you are not installing updates regularly, you can see that you might have faced that problem that some of the applications you will open, it will take time, it will not respond properly, so you cannot work smoothly on system software. Then coming to application software. Application software is installed on top of the system software. This is purely application specific by nature. This application software is application specific. That means a software designed for one application cannot be used for purpose of another application. So for example, we'll take word processing application. For word processing we are using Microsoft Word. For media player we are using VLC media player or Windows media player. Then Acrobat Reader, you can use some gaming applications for gaming purposes. Okay, so these are purely application specific. That means word processing software cannot be used for gaming application. Acrobat Reader is used for reading your documents, PDF documents, that cannot be used for playing a media, that is MP3, MP4 or videos or audio. So these are purely application specific. That's why it is called as application software. Then we left with compiler, interpreter and assembler. Compiler, interpreter and assembler also called as translator. Translator means it translates one language to another language. Because we can write the program using assembly language, we can write the program using high level language, but machine understands only machine language, that is binary, in terms of binary. So in order to make it machine understandable, whatever the end user or the programmer is writing in whichever programming language, there should be a translator which translate that language to machine language. So the categories are the categories of translators are compiler, interpreter, assembler. You can set types. Compiler, interpreter and assembler. Compiler and interpreter, these two, the functioning is more or less similar. That means they convert high level language to low level language, but they differ in one term. Like compiler takes the entire program, then it converts it into low level language, but interpreter, it takes one instruction at a time and convert it into low level language. Then coming to assembler. Assembler converts assembly level language to machine level language. Okay. Then our next topic is so this some background knowledge or background knowledge before knowing to C programming language. Then coming to the topic, why C programming language? That means, is it necessary? Do you feel this is necessary to learn? Definitely necessary, because it has extensive applications. In day-to-day life, we all are using bike or four-wheeler car for transportation purpose. We are using refrigerators, we are using coffee machines, we are using micro oven. So let us take an example of a micro oven. So in micro oven, we have several options for cooking different items. Suppose this is an example of a micro oven. In micro oven, if we want to boil rice, so it may take 5 minutes to 10 minutes for boiling rice. So we need to set the temperature at certain temperature for certain duration. This will be prepared. That means we need to take a bowl, add the ingredients, and we need to set the timer as well as the kind of dish, then it will prepare. We don't have to wait for the entire duration 5 to 10 minutes for preparing rice. Then it is for another curry. So we have to select the category which type of curry we are making, so that I'll have to put all the ingredients in a container, and I'll have to set the time. So all this automated programming or the automation is done with the help of programming itself. So here we are using C programming language, that is embedded program. We have embedded chip inside that, and we are writing the codes for that application specific for different categories of cooking, and we are putting it in micro oven so that it will perform accordingly. Let us take a bike. In bike, you have seen the screen or window where you can see the kilometers you are traveling, the speed at which you are traveling. You can see the petrol consumption. You can see several details in your display meter. So that is nothing but your program, because whenever you are accelerating, you are increasing the accelerator, it is showing the speed. Whenever you are in rest, it is in 0. The moment you start it, the accelerator meter, it starts oscillating. So for all this programming, the distance you have traveled, so everything is shown in your meter. So that is nothing but there also we are using C programming language. In case of refrigerator, at what temperature, freezing temperature you want to put your ingredients into the refrigerator, that is also being controlled through a program. Be it washing machine, in automated washing machine you might have seen that depending upon the type of garments you want to clean, so you have to set the timer accordingly. If you are not present also, then it will automatically switch off that your steering of your machine. Right? So for every day-to-day activities we are using programming for some sort of automations. You might be thinking that can we use programming language in case of your agriculture? Or is it being used in case of your, you have seen mechanical engineering, you have seen, but is it used in civil engineering also? Yes, in civil engineering you might have seen the term estimation. That is estimation. In estimation, for automated estimation, we are using some sort of programming. So that programming language also uses C. Then in case of agriculture, You might have seen in agriculture there is a term called as irrigation. Irrigation, for automating irrigation, you might have seen some large parks manually. There will be no employee for irrigation. The irrigation is being done by automated process. So for automated irrigation, for crop processing, some sort of programming language is used for automation. Nowadays every sector is proceeding towards automation. So for automation we need programming. So C programming is the first programming language which provides doorstep to all the high level programming languages. So you might have seen in every university you will find the C programming language in the first semester itself, because in every field it has some sort of application. That's why in first semester in your syllabus you will find out, be it MCA, be it BCA, be it in plus 2 also, in engineering, in every course you will find out C programming language, because it has extensive uses in day-to-day life. So next come to the topic background details of C, or you can say background details, or you can say history of C programming. C programming language was developed initially in the year 1972 by a professor, or you can say scientist, Dennis Ritchie. It was developed in AT&T Bell's laboratory. The basic purpose of developing C programming language for writing kernel program of Unix operating system. C programming language has been derived from the, or you can say predecessor of C programming language is your B programming language. Which was developed in the year 1969 by both Dennis Ritchie and Ken Thompson. Unix operating system was developed prior to 1969, prior to 1972. In Unix operating system, the kernel program was written by using assembly language. Initially machine language, then they rewritten the program by using assembly language. But the problem in writing machine language and assembly language needs the knowledge of machine. So the program designed for one machine cannot be used in another machine. That's why it is not portable by nature. Or you can say this is machine dependent. In order to overcome these disadvantages, C programming language has been developed, and both Dennis Ritchie and Ken Thompson tried to write majority of your C programming language, majority of your kernel programming using C. So if it is written in C, then it is comparatively easier. So it is portable. That means if you have if you are using using on one machine, then the same code can be used for running another machine also. So comparatively it is easier. Next, what is C programming? C programming language is high level programming language. It is general purpose, portable application or portable by nature. So discuss everything one by one. It is high level because it doesn't require the knowledge of your machine. It has higher abstract level from the hardware. It is general purpose programming language. That means you can use C programming language, or it has applications in different areas. It is not a specific one. Just like for specific purpose language, we have ALGOL, that is algorithmic language. Then we have COBOL, that is common business oriented language, which is used for mathematical applications. Algo language is used for developing algorithms. So these are your specific purpose language, which is for limited applications only. But C is your general purpose language. That means you can use C in extensive areas, as we discussed just prior to this. Why should we go for C programming language? C, in some of the books you will find C as middle level language. C is called as middle level language as because it combines both the features of your low level and high level. You can use this C programming language to develop application program, as well as system program. Next, C is called as mother language, as because the concepts of C has been used by other high level programming language. That means you can say that it is the doorstep to rest of the high level programming languages. Next, we'll discuss features of your C programming language. So let us come to features of your C programming language. This is an application feature of your C programming language. C is portable. We discussed it just few seconds back. That means if you are developing the language for one machine, we can use for other machines too. Then it is middle level. It is structured programming language. Structured programming language means for C there is a particular structure for writing the program. The structure of C programming language we will discuss later. Just now focus onto the features. It has rich set of libraries. What do you mean the library? Library is nothing but number of header files. It contains number of header files. In every header files we have number of related predefined functions. For example, if I take stdio.h, .h is for header file, stdio means std is standard, I for input, o for output. Standard input output. This is a header file which holds all the standard input output functions. The syntax of the number of input output function that is inside this library is known to the compiler. You don't have to think about the syntax, the meaning, and all this. Compiler knows everything. If you want to use that function under a particular library, you have to just include that. The compiler knows everything, identifies that function. You don't have to declare that, only you have to include the library and use the function. Then it has the concept of features of recursion. Recursion means using the calling, if the function call itself, that is called as recursion. So recursion is a broader topic and we will discuss this in details later on. Then extensible. It is extensible. It is a very good feature of your C programming language. That means we can develop our own function. You can say user-defined function and include that into the library so that it can be used in the future. Then the speed of your C programming language is fast because it has the concept of, because it is compiled program and the entire set of instruction is compiled at a time. So, and another thing is that it has the concept of dynamic memory management. That's why it is fast. Then concept of memory management. Memory management means whenever we are creating any sort of variable, any sort of functions, for everything it stores memory, and it has a very good memory management, that is runtime memory management, so which makes the program efficient. For memory management we are using the concept of pointer. So the pointer holds the address of memory. So if I want to manipulate the particular location, access the particular location, change the value of certain location, that we can do it through the help of pointers during the runtime. That means whenever we need, we can change the location, we can access the value of the location. Everything is done with the help of pointers. It is very simple to understand, it has very simple syntax. So these are your several features of your C programming language. Then we were discussing structure of your C programming language. So let structure that we'll discuss after on. Now come to the topic. What are the advantages of what are the disadvantages of your C programming language? So we all know that even if there are several advantages, everything has advantages and disadvantages too. So we'll come to the point. Disadvantages of C programming language. You might be thinking that what are the advantages? All the features we discussed just now is nothing but advantages of C programming language. That's why I started writing disadvantages of C programming language. In C programming language, first disadvantages is lack of object-oriented programming feature. C is your procedural-oriented programming language. That means everything, the entire focus is on procedure, or you can say function. But there are two types: procedural programming, object-oriented programming. So C comes under procedural oriented programming, and C++, Java, these are your object oriented programming. So as it is a procedural oriented programming or structural programming language, it doesn't have object oriented programming feature. So what is object oriented programming feature? That is class, object, inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation. So these are your features of your object oriented programming. Okay, in object oriented programming, the entire focus is on object. Object is a real world entity. So inheritance means you can say we can reuse the features, we can inherit the feature from one to another. Just like if a mother has the extra activity singing, the child also inherits, the child has also feature of singing, that is called inheritance. That means a particular characteristics is inherited from successor to descendant. So similarly, another concept is your polymorphism, which takes poly means many form. That means if the same function can be used for multiple purposes only by changing the number of parameters, types of parameter, and all this. Same function name can be used for serving different purposes. That is polymorphism. That I am not focusing in details about the features, that will be discussed in your object-oriented or C++ programming language. That is encapsulation. So this is your encapsulation provides your abstraction. That means outsider cannot have access to your all the entire access to objects, entire access to members, data member function, and all this. So C lacks the concept of object oriented features. Second point, it doesn't have the concept of your namespace. The concept of namespace means you cannot use same variable or same procedure within a program block. That means, for example, let us take this is your main function. Don't be panic. When I will be describing the sample C program, there I will discuss one by one where to write what. That is structure of C programming language. So just now focus on what is namespace. So we have to write using namespace. You have to create a namespace std Then if I want to use the same variable, then I have to create different space where you can use the same variable. Let it be integer a, or you can say you are using any function add. So this is your first namespace. So the entire code is, I am just erasing this one. This is your starting curly brace. Then I am writing the entire thing within two curly braces. Next, for using the same variable and same function and the function with same name, you have to use another namespace, that is second namespace. Second namespace, I am just doing the continuation over here. In second namespace, this is the starting brace of your second namespace. I am writing integer a following add function, then closing. Then this is your closing of main. That means if you want to use the same function within the main function, then you have to create different namespaces where you can use the same function name. Okay, so C doesn't have the concept of namespace, which is in your C++. Then third, it has no runtime check. Next is here, it doesn't have, that means it doesn't check the code, it doesn't check for the syntax during runtime. But what do you mean by runtime? You have compile time, then another term is a runtime. Whenever you are writing the code, first you compile the code to check for syntax error and it converted into low level language. In runtime, we take the input for the variable, the program takes input for the variable, it gives the output, and the code is converted into exe file, .exe file. So this is called as runtime, where you take the inputs and it displays the output. So C doesn't have runtime check. Next, otherwise you can say that C compiles the program as a whole, so it doesn't have runtime checking. So in compile time it checks for syntaxes and everything during compilation. Next, it has no exception handling. Exception handling means you have two types of error. One is your syntax error, another is your logical error, or you can say hardware error. Syntax error is checked during compile time. But there is no concept of logical error. Suppose you are dividing A by B and the result is stored in C. If you are taking the value of B as 0, then something divided by 0 is undefined, or you can say we write undefined by as infinity. So, if you are giving the input as 0 and A value you can take, anything you can take like 10, 15, 20, anything you take. So, something divided by 0 will give you undefined value. So, C doesn't have any such concept, so that it will, if it is a division operation, it should not take 0 as your denominator. And if you are taking 0 as a denominator, it should raise an alarm, or it should warn you that you should not take this. So this is your exception handling, that is runtime error checking. It doesn't have that logical error or runtime error checking. Next point is, it has lack of data security. Lack of data security is here, it doesn't have any visibility control. That means visibility means you don't have to give a specific control, limiter control, that who can see your private data or to what extent one can see your private data. Everything is public here. But in case of object-oriented programming language, there is a concept of visibility, private, public, protected. So that means the type of access you want to give, who can access to your data, up to what extent, that is there in case of your C programming language, in case of your object-oriented programming language. But in case of your C programming language, everything is public, so it lacks data security. Next, another concept, it doesn't have the concept of constructor as well as destructor. Constructor is used to initialize the object automatically, it allocates some memory automatically. Destructor is used to destroy the object when it is no longer used. So that means it releases the memory automatically when the object is no longer used or it is out of scope. So this automatically initialization of memory when the object is created and releasing the memory automatically when the object is not in use, that means this constructor and destructor is used during runtime. So that concept is not in your C programming language or procedural programming language, which is there in your object-oriented programming language. So by this we are concluding today's class.